Good morning, guys. It's Monday. Welcome to SJU. I'm Joe Starr, filling in for Roth Cornett, who is still in Berlin because she's definitely not a spy. She's a spy, right? She's a spy.
We can ask her tomorrow because her flight is supposed to be in today.
Yeah, as long as everything goes okay.
As long as the mission
in Berlin,
right?
Mission report. Yeah, we'll ask her.
Joining me, Dan Murrell.
Hello, hello.
Billy Business.
What's up?
Special guest in the house, Ify Nwadiwe. What's up, buddy?
Everything's been a blur. Everything's been a wild blur.
That's something that spies also say. I don't trust anyone on this set or anyone behind it. Guys, let's talk Avengers Infinity War. Smashing pre-sale ticket records. Just full Kentucky. I'm still tired. No coffee yet. Avengers Infinity War has already broken ticket seller Fandango's record for fastest selling superhero movie.
Can I just make a comment real quick? Wait, JT, go back to the last graphic. It really bothers me that they're all looking at anything other than Thanos.
Yeah.
Why would they reverse it?
Well, this is the part of the movie where they see if he goes away if they just ignore him. This is the silent treatment act.
He can't see us if we don't move.
That is true. I mean, Hulk is facing in the right direction, but his eyes are going the wrong way. I didn't notice that, but now that's all I can see.
It bothers me so much.
You guys are bad heroes. He's right there.
He'll go away, you guys.
But look at Tony is like so intensely staring at nothing.
No, right off camera is something else.
Yeah.
It's Pepper. Pepper's just right there.
Is Janos,
Yeah.
Thanos' sister,
Janos.
who is also a terrible monster. Let's see here. It took only 6 hours to break the record for fastest selling superhero movie. Tickets went on sale 6 a.m. Pacific time on Friday. Infinity War tops the record previously held by Warner Brothers' Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, followed by fellow Marvel studio film Black Panther, which is still going strong. You'll talk about that later on Charting with Dan.
Yes. It will be about, people were upset, these people were upset last week that my show about the box office was still about Black Panther. And to that I will say, it's the #1 movie for 5 weeks. What else am I going to talk about?
I'm really sad you weren't doing charting when Titanic was out.
I know.
It would have just been 3 months.
Week 15. Still Leo.
What would you do on that 16th week for the thumbnail? Like, what's left to put on the thumbnail for
At
Titanic?
that point, you're just like doing just different angles of Billy Zane.
Exactly.
Billy Zane from different
I have a
movies.
child.
I have a child. I have a child. Before we get into Fandango did this survey we're going to get into, but I feel like every movie that opens, and look, I'm very excited about Infinity War, but I feel like every movie that opens, there is a new, very specific record that is broken.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
are we ruining records?
Well, I think it's just with Infinity War specifically, it does feel like, of course, it's just because Black Panther just happened. Black Panther, not even just happened, is still happening.
Yeah.
So it's like
Still setting records.
Right. So I think just because we're like, okay, another record. Well, it's like I don't know if we were all prepared for just how big Black Panther was gonna hit.
Yeah.
So it does feel like, okay, again, another one. I think that's kind of why you're getting the record fatigue.
Well, also, I feel like it was a no-brainer that it was going to bring the fastest ticket seller because, Black Panther sold so many tickets, and there were so many people outside of the comic book fan realm that have been into Black Panther. So now it's just like in the same way that the people of Wakanda are showing up in the Avengers universe, like the people of black people who love to see kick-ass black people showing up to the movies where it's like, all right, I guess I'll see this Captain America guy, whatever. I think there's been a meme going around where it's like Black Panther's and his little friends in the war. Like there's that group of people who was like, well, I just want to see more Wakanda.
Do you think there's a chance that Black Panther is still just running alongside Infinity War? Is it going to go full Titanic?
No. No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately not. We're hitting into Pacific Rim this week. We got Ready Player One. It's still going to do great. I mean, it is at this point outpacing at this time in its run The Force Awakens, which is the first time that's happened. It's now earning more in its run than The Force Awakens was earning at this point in its run. So it's still going to run.
Yeah.
It's not going to run like 1-2.
Yeah.
But it's going to play for another month at least as far as
do you
top
think
five.
when Infinity War comes out that will spike it up the chart just a little bit, just with that interest?
I was wondering, yeah.
I don't. I think that they're probably going to be gearing up by the time we get to May. They're probably going to be gearing up to get it out on home video, Blu-ray, digital HD. It's going to be part of the. I would imagine that some theaters might bring it back to theaters, but I don't know if it's going to be like, oh, it's not in the top 5 again, just because at that point I think Disney's probably going to be shifting gears to the next level of that movie as far as like, okay, let's get it in the homes. We got it in the theaters, now let's get it in people's hands.
Yeah, I was wondering because we're doing that Marvel watch along where you watch one, or now you have to watch a couple. They watch all of them before April 27th. I was wondering, like, if they're smart, they'll put it back out or re-release it in some theaters that took it out, or add more showtimes for all of us that are doing like the watch along, so we can go see it.
I think you're going to see that. I think you'll see probably a limited re-expansion around the time Infinity War comes out. It's like, hey, before you see it, catch Black Panther again. That'd be my guess, but I don't know if it's going to be like 1-2 running.
What if Billy Zane had been in Black Panther? Do you think it would have maybe given it a couple more weeks?
No, but maybe Zayn Malik if he was.
Okay. Yeah.
That's true.
Okay. Note to Marvel.
Look what Harry Styles did for Dunkirk.
Just
imagine times 10.
And look what American Harry Styles, Nick Jonas, did for Jumanji.
Exactly. 100% on his shoulders.
Just carried that thing. Just
movie
carrying The Rock.
With those
Nick the Rock Jonas.
No, wonderful job, young man. Fandango also said its survey of over 1,000 Infinity War ticket buyers showed 90% of the people who bought a ticket for Marvel Infinity War can't wait to see how heroes work together in the same film.
Here's my question.
Yes?
97% can't wait to see how heroes work together in the same film. What are the other 3% expecting?
I know how heroes work together, guys.
I don't really care to see it anymore.
It's not my first rodeo. 94% excited to see different franchise characters, Guardians and Avengers, meeting one another for the first time.
Again, what are the other 6% expecting?
Why did you buy a ticket to this movie?
This is not an Iron Man movie.
I think it's 6% just being like, stay out of Wakanda. This is ours.
Yeah.
Or they're like 6% of people that are just like, why? How do I get this survey to go away?
I know, yeah. Like, I'm gonna just say no to everything. I don't want to do this survey.
I just want my free shirt or whatever you promised me. 92% see Infinity War as the culmination of all other Marvel cinema films before it.
That's a fact.
Yeah, that's
literally what it is. 8% of people. That's not that's a factual thing.
This ain't it.
Nope.
This is gonna be a surprise movie.
I was telling Joe before this, these stats are like, I can't remember if it's Little Big League or Rookie of the Year, but there's one of those baseball announcers who's like, well, it's the first left-hander south of the Mason-Dixon on a July afternoon and Tuesday. So he's got a pretty good shot today. Like, these stats mean nothing.
No, they really, really don't. But they're fun, I guess. 87% have seen all the MCU movies. Which number drops. We are getting to a point where I think people are like, okay, I'll go see The Thing. And they don't need to have seen 31 hours of movies before it. 71% saw Black Panther on the big screen.
So let's talk about this 29%.
Yeah.
Like, what's up with this 29%?
What's in that Venn diagram?
Because I know the next the next question. I'm like, this 29% is going to lead right into this next question of the picture I have for these people.
60% claim Black Panther made them more excited to see Avengers Infinity War.
So these 40% dorks, just like what's going on here? They're like, it was like whatever. It was like whatever. I didn't see it, but it was like whatever. Oh man.
Yeah.
It was like, it wasn't cool.
Yeah,
I just made a stance. I'm just not gonna see it.
Just drew a line in the sand.
Yeah,
I'm sure
Daredevil's good, Punisher's good. Why see Luke Cage?
There's probably 40% that were like, they're just like, well, I was already excited.
Yeah.
I was already excited.
My guess is that that there was, more excited, just as excited, or less excited, and I'm guessing the 29% who said less excited, or the same 29% who did not see
that are missing.
That's just my guess.
Or maybe 29% were like our friend Choi Jandro, who was like, they were like, hey, did Black Panther make you more excited to see Infinity War? And he was just like, I can't be more excited.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm very happy about this.
I'm at the limit of excitement.
And they're like, who? Before poor Choi exploded.
Reading the survey.
You know, how
just-
there's
oh my god.
you know how there's an asterisk at the bottom of every survey?
Yeah.
That's Choi on this one. It's just like,
And Choi
there
Jandro.
was no amount of excitement that we could get to in asking these questions that matched this person.
I will say two things. One, you should follow Choi Jandro on Twitter. And two, I wish we could figure out a way to like connect him to batteries and just run all of the planet on his excitement. Just
energy.
renewable, clean Koi energy. Guys, online ticket seller Adam Tickets reported Friday that Avengers Infinity War sold more tickets in its first pre-sale day than Black Panther sold in its first month, which I guess makes sense. It's the culmination of all of the movies. That's fine.
Also, no one's using Adam like that. You know,
Also, Joe's a 92%er, I see over here.
Yeah.
Well, also, I think it's stupid to who cares? Like,
Yeah, it's
Black
just
Panther's
not
a
fair,
phenomenon.
yeah.
Like,
That's the thing is, if the question is Infinity War going to have an amazing opening weekend? The answer is
Yeah.
It's going to have an incredible opening weekend. But Black Panther had a great opening weekend, but it has succeeded on the fact that it has had incredible legs.
Yeah, Black Panther's a marathon. I think that's why, okay.
Yeah.
Like, is someone supposed to take this information and be like, I guess Black Panther wasn't as good as some people claim? The movie with every superhero.
Yeah. Also, black people, we're not using Adam. We're using Black Adam. So.
Yep. They also reported. Now this is just Adam. This isn't Black Adam.
Okay.
Also reported results of a survey of more than 2,000 ticket buyers and found that male patrons were most excited to see the following characters: Thanos, the Iron Spider, and T'Challa and Shuri. Okay. Female respondents are most excited to see T'Challa and Shuri, Peter Quill, and Tony Stark. Okay. Yeah. Look, Thanos has like a really cool sleeveless hoodie. It clearly looks like he's been working out. I can get behind that. I respect that.
You got that chin too. You
Yeah.
got that, look at them notches in that chin.
Every galaxy he destroys, he adds a notch.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Him and Killmonger, it's like.
Yeah, I'll have to check in with Jim Starlin, but I think that's what it is. When asked about what superhero movie fans are most excited to see next, Deadpool 2 led the way with 41%, followed by Avengers Part 4 and Ant-Man and the Wasp with 10%. Oh, 10% of Ant-Man fans just hanging in there strong. Guys, that was a lot of numbers for Monday morning. Thoughts?
Yeah. Everything sounded about right.
Yeah.
I feel like
on my calculations too.
Yeah. Because also I feel like with one thing I experienced with Black Panther, and I feel like it might have led to the success of Infinity War's ticket sales. There were way too many people who were like, yeah, we tried to see Black Panther opening weekend, but we showed up at the theater and they were sold out. And I was like, yeah. Like, what? Have you never been to the theater in the past 5 years? It's like you got to pre-sell. So I feel like now people are more inclined to pre-sell tickets, and also there is just a wider fan base. Of those 29% people, there's a group of people who's like, yeah, I want to see the big Marvel stuff, and I feel like it might even be bringing back fans who might have had superhero fatigue, who in the same way we're like, oh, we'll only read crossover events. It's like, I'm only going to watch Avengers.
Yeah.
Forget all the side stuff. They'll catch me up. No, they won't.
ScreenJunkies will do a cram it and save them. I do think that's an interesting observation on the pre-sale burn, because even week 3 of Black Panther, I would check in on reserving tickets and just be like, damn, there are no seats in this place. All right. I get that.
There was no Medea to compete with Black Panther, so we're out there every weekend.
Excited or not for Boo 3, the eventual Boo 3?
Oh my God!
Medea's
Well, not
Halloween?
even Boo 3, but I'm hoping just so I can hate watch it. They do a Medea superhero movie now. They're like, we didn't know that Black people want superheroes, even though they've been asking for this.
I can beat the
as
sky
long
beam
as
all
they-
by myself.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think of what it would be like.
If there's no Meteor Man cameo, then it's not.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh!
absolutely not worth it.
My dream scenario is making the universe out of Blank Man and Meteor Man, and then like adding like one other like bootleg superhero.
Look, Tyler Perry's headquarters already looks like the Avengers compound. So I mean, they got a set they can use.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, easy. I think he has a helicarrier too. Guys, Matrix reboot update.
Why?
Roll that Matrix graphic. Oh, we have one.
Oh,
That was a joke.
wow. I think that's my number, 818-377-64.
Yeah, guys, Easter eggs.
That's not my number, by the way.
All of Dan's important financial information is in
That's
this.
my
That's
routing
all
number.
of our socials right there.
What have we done?
They know.
Last year, we learned Warner Brothers was developing a new Matrix film. That news included rumors of Michael B. Jordan starring in the film and that it could possibly be focused on a young Morpheus. One thing that screenwriter Zach Penn, who did Ready Player One, X3, some
First
other
Avengers.
films. First Avengers, thank you. He previously made clear that this is not going to be a reboot. It's going to be more of a revival. During an interview with Screen Rant, he offered a bit more of an update. He said, I've been working on Matrix right now, which is in a phase right now. I feel that. That's a franchise I desperately want to see brought back, and I can't go into too much detail, but I've been harassing Warner Brothers for years to try to get it going again. So wait. So that's one thing I'm working on, and I've been working on a bunch of other things too, which is maybe the most vague quote I've ever read out loud for this show. I like this project, and I hope it happens. I've been working on that and other things. Goodbye, Screen Rant. I write the stories.
It sounds like he's more into it than Warner Brothers,
Yeah.
though, which is surprising because Warner Brothers, they'll put out any franchise they can get their hands on right now. I mean, Fantastic Beasts is because they couldn't let Harry Potter go, but it's surprising that Matrix, they haven't tried to remine that again.
Well, I feel like it's kind of rough because I remember the Wachowski sisters had to deal with the whole lawsuit of the person who said that they stole the idea from them. And I wonder if that's what makes it a little sticky and why it's like, yeah, no, it better be about like Morpheus and not just reboot. Like, I don't think they can actually reboot the story if they wanted to without paying off the person that initially, because I believe, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong about this, that person did win the case that their idea was stolen.
Well, and the Matrix didn't exactly go out on top.
Yeah.
No, that's rough too.
People love the Matrix. When people say they love the Matrix, they mean like the
first
first
movie.
movie,
And maybe the Animatrix.
and maybe the Animatrix, and the second one potentially, and the third one
Like a scene from the second one.
Exactly.
The freeway chase.
The freeway
Yeah.
chase.
Yeah.
And the kind of box office sort of stepped down, particularly with the third one. So I could see why Warner Brothers is like, I don't know if we want to mine this again, just because we did well with what we had, and personally I felt like the Matrix said everything it needed to say with the first movie.
Yeah.
Not to mention the two sequels, which whatever. I just as a consumer, if you're like they're gonna make a new Matrix movie, I'd kind of go, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Also, I feel like it's an artifact in a good way where it was like, at the time, that was so impressive, and I like to leave it there, where it's like this thing.
It was kind of a perfect storm of a movie.
Yeah. Whereas if it came out now and they rebooted, you'd have to have a Fury Road. Like you'd have to blow my mind in the same way that Mad Max blew our minds back then for it to not just be a complete flop and ruin the legacy. Because like you said, it didn't go out on top, so the legacy is already standing on some shaky legs.
Yeah, but to your point too, you could have said the exact same thing, and I'm not talking artistically, I'm talking purely commercially. You could have said the same thing about Jurassic Park. It ended on Jurassic Park 3, which was a significant decrease by that point in the franchise. We let it sit for 10, 15, whatever years it was, and then came back really strong, probably stronger than any of us thought it was going to in Jurassic World.
And it was a perfect movie.
But I'm just saying, if I'm a Warner Brothers executive, I think I would probably look at the Jurassic World model and think, well, we've got a Matrix, which, it didn't end strong too, but their Jurassic Park 3 didn't end strong, and they did just fine. It's been sitting on the shelf long enough. Why not?
Yeah.
I think the difference maybe too with keeping going with Fantastic Beasts and keeping Harry Potter alive is, I mean, Harry Potter is a proven infinite money machine.
Yeah.
There will be another series after Fantastic Beasts. I don't know quite what it is. but it will be there. Maybe there'll be one about Merlin, or maybe there will be a Harry Potter 2049. I don't know. I would watch that.
That I would watch.
Oh God, what have I done? Ours 2049. I would absolutely watch. But yeah, Matrix. I don't know.
Also, I think something we have to consider is we don't realize how old we are. I'm learning that every day.
That is
but
true.
like when you talk, like I don't know if you've ever made like a
22.
movie reference to like someone younger and they have no recollection of this movie that has a huge. So I feel like that might be on the Matrix side where they don't remember, like they just remember hearing about it, and so they're like, yeah, let's check this out. Like.
I see plenty of teenagers yelling about red pills on the internet. I feel like they know what the Matrix is, at least. Or,
that's true. Can you imagine not even knowing the reference that's making?
Yeah, I promise you most of yeah. I can't think of a better way to stamp out of that story. Well done, sir. Dan has. We need some kind of segment for like Dan has ended this.
A rubber stamp.
It's a rubber stamp that says Dan. Dan. Guys, the Tarantino Star Trek, not R-rated after all.
Looks like they cut out all those N-words in the new draft.
I was trying to think of a Trek character that sounded like Django real quick, and it didn't happen. Simon Pegg has confirmed that Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek movie idea is in active development, but isn't sure an R rating is part of the package. In December, it was reported that Tarantino was developing a Star Trek movie with screenwriter Mark L. Smith, who wrote The Revenant, with the intention of directing it himself. Speaking on the Empire Awards red carpet, Simon Pegg said, "I don't think Quentin Tarantino has written an R-rated Star Trek script. I think what happened is he went to J.J. Abrams with an idea that he's had for a while. I remember he told us about it a long time ago," which, by the way, I can totally see Quentin Tarantino like cornering the cast of Star Trek at a party and being like, "I got an idea, man, about your spaceships." I think he told me and Edgar Wright about it a long time ago. Yes, I can definitely see this happening. He just put it to JJ, and I think JJ's just considering putting it into a writer's room. We got an email saying, "Guess what? Guess who came into the office the other day?" So I don't know much about it other than it's in the mix, so we'll see. Man, that was Simon Pegg addressing rumors that he's like gonna go to prom with somebody in high school. Like, I don't know. Like, I heard that they wrote a note that said that they were interested, but I'm kind of keeping my options open because like Tony doesn't have a date yet either, and I kind of want to see how that plays out. This made it sound like Quentin Tarantino like might not even be writing a Star Trek. This is a very non-committal.
Well, I remember when this first broke, like a couple days afterwards, there were reports that he was like, if Tarantino's going to do it, he'll only do it if it's rated R, which I always thought was kind of weird because I was like, I don't know what filmmaker, like going into such a big franchise like that, would just like make those kind of demands, or why Paramount would be like, a Tarantino Star Trek is not worth Star Trek the brand. Then I watched Star Trek Discovery and I was like, are they really trying to like move Star Trek into an edgier, could be more adulty? Because I don't like it. I don't like this. I don't know how you guys feel about Discovery.
I don't know how bad you want to see Uhuru's feet, because
that's what's coming
in a Tarantino Star Trek.
That is absolutely what's coming.
Yeah.
Dan, how do you feel about Discovery and this bold new R-rated?
Well, Discovery, I still have a lot of catching up to do on, because I just stopped watching it after a while. Not because I hated it, but just because it just kept getting bumped back because it didn't grab me. It's the thing with the tone of a thing, and if you like it, like I like the tone that Star Trek has traditionally had. That doesn't mean that I'm completely closed off to change, but it has a certain tone to it, and Discovery to me didn't have that. It was not that, and so it felt different. Yeah, it felt different. I'm not saying that different is bad, but it was a radical shift for me from everything else that I've ever watched that had the Star Trek name on it. So it was a little jarring.
Yeah, we're 22, and it's hard to adjust. No, I'm the same. Like, look, Star Wars to me it has a John Williams score, and there are very specific things that are Star Wars to me. So no, I totally get that.
I'm not closed off to change, but it was just it wasn't the kind of change that made me go like, oh wow, I love this new direction. It was the kind of change that kind of was just like, I feel like they're just trying to make a generic sci-fi show and they just slap Star Trek on it, but they want it to be like a harder edge like Battlestar Galactica. I love Battlestar Galactica. It had kind of the same tone, but I don't know. It just felt a little bit messy, a little muddled to me. But having said that, there's a lot of catching up that I have to do still. I have many episodes to watch that I got like 6, I think, in. So maybe something changed, but my interest in this is not because it would be a hard-edged Star Trek. My interest in this is because when you get somebody like Tarantino who just brings this weird energy to everything, I don't know if I'll love it as a Star Trek movie, but I'm sure as hell interested in seeing it.
Yeah. Ify, if you cornered Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright at a party, what would your pitch to them be?
Just a sitcom about Uhura's family that kind of has like a Family Matters theme to it.
Yeah.
There's this dorky alien who would stop by all the time who's in love with Uhura.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I think this is solid. Is that? Please let it be called that.
Ooglark. Yeah.
Ooglark with an exclamation point.
Yeah.
Coming soon to CBS All Access. Ooglark. Some people were surprised about this. The idea didn't come entirely out of left field, as Tarantino has publicly expressed interest in directing a Star Trek film in the past. I think we've been talking about this for a couple of months now. Like every now and then it'll pop up that Tarantino's like, remember, I want to do this thing. He's mentioned 2 Star Trek TV show episodes, The City on the Edge of Forever from the original series, and Next Generation's Yesterday's Enterprise. Thumbs up, thumbs down to that episode. I don't know it. Is that a good episode?
No, it's one of the better episodes.
Teach me Trek.
It's interesting though that those are both like time travel related, that's what that's what they were talking about with the Chris Hemsworth part. As soon as Beyond came out, so I don't know if that was the same idea or a similar one, or why we haven't heard anything more about it. But
you might actually get your Old West Django Unchained Star Trek movie then with all that time travel.
Well, I mean, time travel is the only thing those 2 episodes really have in common too. It's not like they have a common. I guess they kind of have a common theme, but the idea, one of them is traveling back into the past. One of them is kind of an alternate dimension with something from the past coming to the future. So, yeah, it's not as if they were 2 episodes that like form a bridge, no pun intended, to each other.
Sorry. Oh no, it was good. It was good. It went down good. Star Trek veterans William Shatner and Patrick Stewart have already voiced their interest in returning to the franchise.
William Shatner would come back to anything that he was offered. That is not news. That is sports. He would not turn down anything.
He would put a horse rider in the a horse rider in the contract. I have to ride a horse.
Yeah.
Horses.
That's his inclusion rider.
Yeah.
A horse and a rider.
Shatner, that's not what we meant.
I need a horse on screen and I need a horse behind the camera. So let's get someone call in the horse AD.
My best boy has to be a Palomino. Even if the film winds up being PG-13 instead of R, which, who cares?
I kind of care.
Why?
I think an R-rated Star Trek is just like the complete antithesis of what like the core like.
I think more. I don't care about R ratings. I don't think they're necessarily interesting.
I also don't know many stories of films where they were like deliberately like it has to get an R rating.
Yeah.
Like it's very rare. It happens, sure, but even then it's usually like we have to put out a special edition DVD with a unrated cut. Can you digitally add some blood? But no one's like, how do I make this damn thing R?
Yeah.
You know?
Business, Dan, Ify, hear me out. NC-17 Star Trek.
NCC 17.
Hey! Oh boy. It's Quentin Tarantino. It stands to reason that it would probably be a little harder, a little grittier, a little darker. Does Star Trek need sort of to continue that more adult tone, or does it kind of just need to go back to being optimistic and kind of silly?
Well, you don't want to go so far. When the first couple seasons of Star Trek: The Next Generation, which weren't great, was Gene Roddenberry kind of taking his vision to the extreme and saying that, like, not only is the future perfect, but like no one argues. So the shows can never be about conflict between people because people wouldn't argue in the future. We're too perfect. It always has to be conflict from within, which is why it was always Alien of the Week, Planet of the Week, because he's like, well, the crew can never disagree. It's like, well, that's too far. That's too optimistic. That's too idyllic, and then it takes stakes out. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be conflict, and even the original Star Trek, like Spock, Kirk, McCoy, that entire friendship between the three of them is built of the conflict between the three of them. So you don't want to go so far with Star Trek that it's just boring. But at the same time, and it's the problem that I had with Discovery, was like Discovery was so much focused on violence and aggression and anger and mistrust and everything. It felt just the hope was kind of sucked out of it, at least this in the beginning with the setup, which is what turned me off of it. So I think you have to find a middle to it, and it would be, if you're gonna make an R-rated Star Trek, I think it would be a juggling act. I'm not saying you can't do it, but to have that kind of tone without being so extreme that you're like, wow, what am I watching?
Yeah, it feels like, that kind of violence and mistrust is the easy way out, because I feel like Star Trek as a whole is a kind of complicated series to write for because it's so philosophical. And I think the conflict should be less in like relationships and more in morals, because this is like a ship full of scientists. And I feel like that's what it's going to take. It's going to have to be like just going to these planets and like having these like moral philosophical debates and how to handle things the right way,
which is not really a movie we get anymore, at least not in big tentpoles. We were talking the other day about Bond and whether or not you can sort of go in this lane super campy, in this lane super Daniel Craig gritty. Do you guys think Star Trek is something where you again you have to pick a lane, or do you guys think you can actually like pull off a good blend?
I feel like you could, but it's hard. It's not easy. Like it's because in a way where, of course now I'm blank just as I was coming up with an idea, but like
you pulled a me. It's fine.
Yeah. But some movies do get the campiness, but revert back to serious moments, and you're there for both of it. But it's not an easy feat because you have to justify both sides.
Right.
I mean, I think it's definitely possible. I don't know how commercial it is, but I do think like Arrival could have been a great Star Trek episode. It could have been a great Star Trek movie if you just change around some of the locales and everything. But the core story in Arrival is very much like a Star Trek, like it's one of discovery, and it's like, wait, we don't have to blow this up. What is this thing trying to tell us what's happening? Like those stories still exist.
Yeah.
Arrival is actually very similar to a Star Trek The Next Generation episode where Captain Picard gets stranded on a planet with an alien that speaks only in metaphor, and Darmok and Jallard at Tanagra, and they have to like learn language with each other. Very similar.
You know what? Very, very similar.
That's my geek moment of the day.
I'm glad I could tee you up for that.
I have it in my writer here that if we're talking about Star Trek, you have to be here. Otherwise, it's just going to be me going like, the thing they push on their chest is neat. Dan, help. Guys, that's our show. Ooh. We did it. Thank you guys for being here. Dan Murrell, Billy Business, Ify Nwadiwe. Buddy, where can people find you online?
Definitely Twitter, Instagram, Ify Nwadiwe, IFY, it's right there. I usually spell it out because, Ify Nwadiwe doesn't sound like that. You can catch me. I have a podcast coming out on the How Stuff Works Network, dropping tomorrow. The trailer drops called Nerdificent. Me and Danny Fernandez, we do deep dives into nerdy topics and stuff like that.
That's right on, man. And Dragon Ball Super wrapping up. How you feeling?
Oh man, I was hyped. Yeah. We did a live stream of the episode, watch along. It was tight, just lots of thick buff dudes.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, I gotta hit this gym now. I'm trying to get that. I'm currently on a mission for the Michael B. Jordan bod.
Okay.
But, after I'm done, I might have to go to Jiren.
Guys, speaking of big thick dudes, it dropped this morning. Make sure you guys check it out. Pacific Rim Pup Rising, where we combined John Boyega, the cast of Pacific Rim, with puppies dressed as Jaegers, dropped on ScreenJunkies main this morning. Make sure you check it out, and we're going to leave you with a clip. See you guys tomorrow.
Guys, listen up, man. This is real serious business, all right? This is the fate of the world, all right, as we know it.
Ready.
The only thing standing in front of the dog apocalypse is us. But it doesn't matter where you walked here from, who believed you were a good boy and who didn't. There are dogs we remember as legends. But they didn't start out that way. They started out like pups. This is our time. This is our chance to make a difference. This is our chance to run and pee on grass. Puppy pilots, Do you understand?
Yes.
Now you help me save the world, all of you, you, and you. Now let's do this.
Ready?
You ready? It's a good
Going to be
motivational
ready.
speech.
Hello?
What do you think? Killed it.
You did great.